Hello, welcome back to electronic accounting course. This is the second module, and we'll be discussing on setting up an electronic accounting environment. And when we talk about this, it's actually will be a guide um, through establishing an efficient, accurate, and timely financial management system using the digital tools. And the content of the module, we'll be able to look at the criteria for selecting accounting software, the hardware and software requirements. We will also look at the installation and configuration processes. We'll look at the creating a company profile segment, and lastly we'll look at setting up a chart of accounts. And I want to quickly say that this is just a basic understanding of this part of electronic accounting. It's not mainly a practical one, though it's actually going to give a basic understanding into it. And I want us to follow. Setting up an electronic accounting environment is foundational for modern financial management, and it involves creating the right technological and operational framework for seamless digital accounting tasks. And this process begins with selecting appropriate accounting software, ensuring necessary hardware and software infrastructures, and also proper system installation and configuration. And as such, establishing a complaint profile and a comprehensive chart of accounts provides the structural basis for accurate data entry and financial reporting. So by carefully looking or building this environment, organizations can maximize the benefits of electronic accounting, reducing errors and also enhancing decision-making capabilities. Now, what are the criteria for selecting accounting software? Choosing the right accounting software is critical for efficiency, accuracy, and scalability. And the selection process should align with organizational needs, industry requirements, and the full growth plan. And as per the functionality and features, core accounting capability, that is the general ledger, accounts payables, receivables, payroll, inventory reporting, had the specialized features. The functionality, it actually deal with core accounting capabilities. Like the general ledger, the account payables and receivables, the payrolls, the inventory, the reporting aspect of it. And when we talk about this accounting software, one other criteria that will be looked into is the ease of use. And this is the intuitive user interface, the platform whereby you'll be able to operate, how simple it is, the navigation, and then the reduced learning curve and error-free data entry. This is another critical aspect you have to look into after the functionality and the features. And also, the scalability is very important to look into in selecting accounting software. And this is the ability to handle increased transactions, users, and functionalities as the business grows. So, so some of the software may not be able to carry as much. So it depends on what you have to do at that moment and the ability for it to grow as business also grows. So it's actually a very important criteria to look into in selecting an accounting software. And also the integration capability, that is the seamless integration with other systems like the POS, the CRM, ERP, for smooth data flow. These are actually very important as a criteria for selecting accounting softwares. And as an organization, it is very important to look into this before using it. What are the key considerations for software selection? what are the things you have to consider? Beyond core features, you need to consider how the software adapts to your unique business processes and provides ongoing support. And aside that, your own personal business, you can also work for an organization, and you may actually be given the opportunity to actually suggest softwares to use. And that is why it is very important to also look at the key considerations for software selection. And the first consideration is the customization option. And this talks about the ability to customize reports, forms, and workflows to suit specific business processes and regulatory requirements. Another key consideration is the compliance and security aspect. And for this, it talks about the adherence to tax law, accounting standards, and data protection regulations, and with built-in security features. Also, another key consideration is the cost and value, and this deals with the total cost of ownership, that is the licensing, the implementation, maintenance. They need to be weighed against efficiency gains, and this is very, very important consideration we need to also put into for software selection. And we also look into another is the vendor support and reliability. And for this, it talks about the strong customer support, the regular updates, and a proven track record from software providers. And this is also a key consideration for software selections. And what are the hardware requirements for electronic accounting? Establishing an efficient electronic accounting environment requires careful consideration of physical components to ensure smooth operation and secured data. And as such, we look into the processing and memory, which is a very key requirement of the hardware as per electronic accounting. And for the processing and memory, the CPU must be a high performance processor for large data volume. And for the RAM, and it must be sufficient, it must have sufficient memory of about 8 gig plus for small, and about 16 gig for larger, in order to bring about, to ensure system speed. Another is the storage and peripherals. And for the storage, the requirement is being a SSD or HDD, and it must be about 256 gig plus is actually recommended for database and backups. And for IO devices, keyboard, mice, monitors, printers, scanners are needed to be looked into, are key requirements for data entry and reporting. And as per the networking and backup, for networking, it's actually required to have a router, the switches, cables for multi-users, and cloud access. And for backup system, there is need for external drives or NAS for secure data loss prevention. For the software requirement for electronic accounting, it's actually beyond the core accounting application. Supporting software is crucial for optimal system performance and data security. And for the core in system software, we talk about the accounting software. There is a need for core application in terms of the QuickBooks, the Sage, Zero, and also the operating system. It must be a compatible operating system, the Windows, the Mac OS, and then the Linux. And for database management system, for larger organizations, we talk about the SQL, the server, the Oracle. And for security and productivity, for the security software, we talk about a major requirement as antivirus, the firewall, encryption for data protection. And for the productivity too, it's required to have a word processor, spreadsheet, e.g. Microsoft Office, Google Workspace. And for the cloud integration tool, it's actually important to have a cloud-based accounting such as the Dropbox, the Google Drive, and some others, which are very important as organization. An organization. In terms of the installation and configuration processes, proper installation and configuration are vital for deploying, customizing, and optimizing the electronic accounting system. And as per the installation, there is need for system preparation, software deployment, license activation, and also initial connectivity. And as per the configuration, we talk about the likes of regionals or currency setting, user account setup, talk about the chart of accounts creation, talk about the system integration, the backup or recovery setup. And also we talk about, as in the aspect of the testing and validation, we talk about the trial transaction, the report verification, and lastly, the interoperability checks. Now, to create a complaint profile, what are the things we need to know? The complaint profile is actually a fundamental step establishing the framework for all accounting data, and it defines your entity's identity and operational structure. And this involves entering basic organizational information such as the legal name, the addresses, tax ID, and contact details. And it also includes industry classification, the currency preference, the fiscal year setting, and also the applicable tax structures. And some software allows configuring user access rights and security protocols, and customizing with logos or integrating with other applications. And also a well-configured profile streamlines data entry, reporting, and minimizes error by embedding essential organizational parameters into the accounting workloads. And in setting up a chart of accounts is another crucial part, setting up a chart of accounts. And when we talk about the chart of accounts, we actually have the structures of the chart of account, as you can see in the diagram. But when we talk about the the chart of account, it is actually a structured list of all accounts used for financial transactions, forming the backbone of your accounting system. And it actually organizes financial information into meaningful categories, each with simple or unique code rather, each with unique code. And a well-organized chart of accounts ensures consistency in data entry, accurate reporting, and effective financial analysis, while also supporting regulatory compliance and decision making. Just like I said in the diagram, the previous slide, we talk about the structure. We have the likes of the assets, the revenue, equity, liability. We have the revenue. We have it as the assets, which entails the current and non-current assets. The liability, which also entails the current and long-term liability, the equity, which deals with the ownership, owner's capital, the retained earnings. We have the revenue, which deals with the sales, the service income. We have the expenses, such as the cost of goods sold, the operating costs, and the likes. And in setting up, the following steps are very important in setting up a chart of accounts. And the first one is identifying business need. What are the actual needs of a business? And when you identify the business needs, then you move to the next, where you determine the account coding structure. After that, you also define account names and or descriptions. Then you also group accounts logically. After grouping accounts logically, you will need to enter account into systems, and then you test and refine what has been done, the setup that you have done for the chart of accounts. In conclusion, setting up an electronic accounting environment is crucial for enhancing financial efficiency, accuracy, compliance, and from software selection to hardware security, installation, configuration, company profile, and also chart of accounts. Each step builds a reliable foundation and effectively implemented system minimizes error, facilitates integration, and ensure your organization is prepared for current and future accounting needs, supporting robust decision-making process. Thank you.